When life breaks you, when betrayal rips your heart apart, and when the people you trusted the most stab you in the back, you sit there wondering if justice will ever find them. You question if the pain they caused you will ever return to them. Let me tell you something, life is not blind. The universe has eyes sharper than any sword, and karma is its weapon. Those who betrayed you, those who laughed at your suffering, those who thought they could destroy you without consequences, every single one of them will face what they put into the world. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to waste your soul in hate. You simply need patience, because karma never forgets. The same energy they threw into your life, the same poison they fed you, will return to them multiplied. And when it does, they won't be able to escape it. The truth is, every act has a price. Every wound they caused is a debt, and the universe always collects. The fire they set in your life will one day burn their own world, and when that day comes, you'll stand stronger, unbroken, knowing justice is real. Karma never misses. It always returns. That statement is not just philosophy. It's reality. Life has an invisible balance sheet, and every action, every word, every intention is recorded, whether you believe it or not. People think they can harm others, cheat, lie, betray, and escape without consequences. They convince themselves that life will forget, that somehow they are clever enough to outrun the truth. But the truth is relentless. Karma is not about punishment, it is about balance. And balance always finds its way back. When someone tries to destroy you, what they don't realize is that the very energy they send out is planting seeds in their own soil. They might walk away feeling victorious, believing they've escaped accountability. But what they've really done is set a trap for themselves. It may take weeks, months, or even years, but the moment will arrive when their own actions corner them. The beauty of karma is that it doesn't strike on your command. It doesn't operate on your timeline, and that is where most people misunderstand it. You might sit there, hurt and broken, asking why the one who harmed you seems to be thriving. Why do they get to smile while you bleed? Why does life allow them to walk freely after causing so much pain? But karma is patient. It waits for the perfect moment. It doesn't just hit. It hits where it hurts the most, in the very area where they thought they were untouchable. A person who betrayed love may find themselves abandoned by the very people they once valued. A person who stole will one day lose everything they tried to keep. A person who built happiness on the suffering of others will eventually feel the emptiness of a life with no real foundation. People often think karma is some distant idea, but it's as real as the ground under your feet. It shows up in broken relationships, in careers collapsing, in sudden losses, in unexplained emptiness. You can fake smiles for the world, you can hide behind masks, but the energy you put into life eventually reveals itself. That's why, when someone hurts you, you don't need to waste your soul plotting revenge. Revenge is small. Revenge keeps you tied to their energy. But patience is power. Because while you heal, while you rise, while you become stronger, the universe is working. Quietly in the background, building the storm that will eventually knock on their door. And when it arrives, they won't be able to run. The return of karma is also a reminder for you. It's a call to live with integrity, to understand that your actions matter. Because the same way their darkness will return to them, your light will return to you. The good you've done, the kindness you've given, the love you've shared, even when it wasn't appreciated, none of it is wasted. It circles back. People forget this because they think only pain comes back. But blessings come back too. You might not see it immediately, but every time you chose not to become bitter, every time you chose to keep faith instead of hate, you were building your own protection. Life remembers that. The universe doesn't just punish wrong. It rewards right. Think about the people who once underestimated you, who thought you'd stay broken forever. Think about how their arrogance blinded them. They believed they were untouchable because they caused pain and walked away smiling. But smiles don't hide karma. Success built on the suffering of others isn't real success. It's a ticking clock. And when the alarm goes off, everything they pretended to have will collapse. That's why you never have to worry if justice will come. It will. You may not be there to witness it, but trust me, it will arrive with the same force they once used to hurt you. And here's the secret. Karma always knows where to strike. It doesn't waste time with shallow blows. It targets the core of a person's pride. If they loved money more than anything, they will face loss. If they craved attention, they will face loneliness. If they thrived on control, they will experience powerlessness. That's why karma is perfect. It never misses the mark, and it always returns in the most fitting way. This truth should not only give you comfort, it should fuel you. Because instead of drowning in anger, you can focus on growth. You can focus on becoming the strongest, most unshakable version of yourself. When you realize karma is real, you stop chasing justice in the wrong ways. You stop trying to drag others down because you know life will handle them. And when you let go, you set yourself free. The universe can't give back to you if you're too busy holding on to bitterness. But the moment you release it, that's when your blessings start arriving. Never confuse silence with weakness. Never confuse patience with defeat. The reason you stay silent, the reason you remain patient, is because you know karma is already moving. It may move slowly, but it moves with certainty. And when it arrives, it delivers more than you could have imagined. That is why those who wronged you will one day regret it. Not because you destroyed them, but because they destroyed themselves without even realizing it. Their lies will choke them. Their greed will suffocate them. Their betrayal will isolate them. And all the while, you'll be rising higher, untouched by their chaos. So when you feel the pain of injustice, remind yourself, karma never misses. Every wound you suffered will be answered. Every tear you cried is part of the balance. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to fight battles that the universe has already claimed on your behalf. Just keep moving forward. Keep becoming stronger. Keep building your life, because while you're doing that, karma is circling back to those who tried to destroy you. That is the law of life. Unbreakable, unstoppable, undeniable. No matter how long it takes, karma always returns. And when it does, the same pain they gave, you will echo back into their own lives until they finally understand what they once ignored. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee, because karma never misses. It always returns. Betrayal is a debt, and debts must be paid. There are few pains in life as sharp as betrayal, because it never comes from an enemy. It comes from someone you trusted, someone you believed in, someone you let into your world. When they turn on you, when they stab you in the back after you gave them your heart, your loyalty, your effort, the wound cuts deeper than any blade. And in that moment, it feels like the world is unfair. It feels like they walk away clean, laughing, while you are left bleeding. But the truth is this: betrayal is not free. It carries a price. And no matter how long it takes, the debt will always come knocking at their door. The universe does not allow betrayal to slide without consequence. When someone betrays you, what they are really doing is signing a contract with their own destruction. They may not see it immediately, but they've planted a curse in their own life. Every action has an echo. Every betrayal has a bill. And the universe always collects what is owed. They may smile now. They may appear untouchable. They may build illusions of success. But underneath it all, a shadow is growing. That shadow is the debt of betrayal. And one day it will demand payment. The payment doesn't always arrive in the way you expect. It isn't always loud. It isn't always obvious. Sometimes it comes in silence, relationships falling apart, trust crumbling around them, the same knife they used on you being turned on them by someone they trusted. The betrayer thinks they are clever, but they forget that trust is the foundation of every relationship, every opportunity, every future. Once they destroy it, they poison their own path. They cannot escape it, because once you've betrayed, you carry the seed of betrayal inside you. And eventually that seed grows into loneliness, emptiness, and regret. Betrayal always costs more than the betrayer imagines. They think they've gained something: power, money, status, temporary satisfaction. But what they've really done is make a trade. They traded their honor, their integrity, their soul for something that will not last. And when the temporary benefit fades, they're left with nothing but the weight of their debt. That's when life comes full circle. That's when they realize that every action against you was an action against themselves. Because betrayal doesn't just wound the one betrayed, it poisons the betrayer too. The most painful part of betrayal is not just the act, but the disbelief. You wonder how someone you loved, someone you trusted, someone you defended could turn into your enemy. And that disbelief eats at you, makes you question yourself, makes you question your worth. But you must remember, betrayal says nothing about your value. It speaks only of their character. They didn't betray you because you weren't enough. They betrayed you because they lacked loyalty, discipline, and strength. Weak people betray. Cowards betray. The strong remain loyal because they understand that loyalty is wealth and betrayal is debt. And here is the law of life. Debts are always repaid. Sometimes in the same way they harmed you, sometimes in ways far worse. The person who betrayed love will one day crave love and find none. The one who betrayed loyalty will one day find themselves abandoned when they need others the most. The one who betrayed trust will one day see doors slam shut in their face. Because people can sense the emptiness of a dishonest soul. That's the way betrayal pays back. Through loss, through isolation, through regret so heavy it crushes the heart. This is why you must never lower yourself to their level. When you are betrayed, your instinct screams for revenge. You want to make them feel the pain they caused. You want to tear them apart. But revenge is just another chain binding you to their energy. You don't need revenge because betrayal itself is the seed of their destruction. They planted it when they turned against you, and it will grow with or without your hand. What you need to do is rise, heal, or stand taller than before. Because your healing is the greatest punishment. You survived what was meant to break. You and they must live with the knowledge that they couldn't destroy you. Think of it like this. Betrayal is debt, and the interest on that debt grows over time. The longer they go without paying, the heavier the price becomes. At first, they may feel nothing. They may even enjoy the fruits of their betrayal. But slowly, piece by piece, the cost begins to collect. They lose trust from others. Their reputation corrodes. Their relationships decay. And eventually they look around and realize they are alone, surrounded by emptiness, haunted by the very choices they thought were victories. That is the payment. That is the law. So if you've been betrayed, understand this. You don't need to chase justice. Justice is already on its way. Life has a perfect memory. It never forgets betrayal because betrayal shakes the very order of existence. Trust is sacred, and when someone violates it, they invite chaos into their own world. You don't need to worry about their path. You need to focus on yours. Because while they are sinking under the weight of their debt, you are rising, free from their poison, building a life they will one day envy, but never have. And when that day comes, when they face the emptiness of their actions, you won't need to say a word. Their own reality will scream louder than any revenge ever could. They will replay the moment they betrayed you over and over, realizing too late that the cost was far greater than the gain. That is the cruel justice of betrayal. The betrayer always thinks they've won, but time proves them wrong. Time shows that betrayal was not a victory. It was a debt, and debts must be paid. So hold your head high. Don't let betrayal define you. Let it refine you. Let it build fire in your soul, strengthen your heart, wisdom in your mind, and trust that the same universe that watched you suffer will watch them fall. Because betrayal is not forgotten. It is written, it is recorded, and it is paid for in full. Always. The energy you release will always come back. That is one of the most undeniable truths of life, yet most people live as if they can escape it. They speak poison, they spread hate, they tear others down, and they believe the world will overlook it. They think their words disappear, their actions fade, their intentions dissolve into the air. But nothing disappears, or nothing fades. Every word, every action, every thought is energy, and energy is eternal. It doesn't vanish, it travels, it multiplies, it circles, and eventually it returns to the source. That's why you can look at someone's life and see the reflection of their inner world. A person who constantly lives in bitterness will find themselves surrounded by bitterness. A person who gives love, no matter how much pain they've endured, will see love flow back into their life. It may not happen instantly, but it always happens, because the energy you release is the blueprint of the life you create. This is why people who live with malice never truly win. They can pretend, they can build illusions, they can show off wealth, smiles, and fake happiness, but beneath it all, the energy they release is corroding their foundation. You cannot build a life on negative energy without eventually being consumed by it. It's like pouring acid into your own well. You may quench your thirst for a while, but in time, the poison spreads through everything. That is why hate-filled people always collapse. They may rise fast, but their fall is inevitable because they are living in contradiction to the law of energy. When you understand that the energy you release always comes back, your entire perspective shifts. You stop begging for revenge. You stop wasting energy trying to prove your worth to those who doubted you. You stop trying to convince anyone to see your truth. Instead, you focus on what you're putting out into the world, because that is what's going to come back to you. If you choose strength, resilience, and faith, then even in your darkest hours, those forces will return to protect you. But if you choose bitterness, jealousy, and anger, then your life will be filled with those very chains. Energy is like a mirror. It reflects what you give. Think about it. You've met people who walk into a room and instantly change the atmosphere. They don't even have to speak. Their presence radiates light, calm, and confidence. That is energy, and it draws more of the same into their lives. Then you've met others who carry storms with them. They speak in complaints, they radiate hostility, and no matter where they go, problems seem to follow. That isn't bad luck, it's energy. You are a magnet for what you release, whether you want to accept it or not. That is why it is impossible to escape the law. The universe doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care about lies. It doesn't care about masks. It only responds to energy. This is also why you must be mindful of how you respond to pain. When people hurt you, it's easy to want to throw back the same energy. They betrayed you, so you want to betray. They lied, so you want to lie. They tore you down, so you want to tear them down. But the truth is, the moment you reflect their poison, you trap yourself in the same cycle. You inherit their curse. Their actions created debt, but when you copy them, you share it. That is why real strength is not in retaliation, but in discipline. When you choose not to become like those who hurt you, you break the cycle. You release energy of resilience instead of weakness, and that resilience comes back to you in the form of opportunities, healing, and peace they will never know. The energy you release also determines how people treat you. Humans can feel authenticity on a level they don't even understand. You cannot fake energy for long because eventually your true frequency shows. That's why some people lose everything they thought they manipulated their way into. Jobs, relationships, positions. They may have fooled others temporarily, but they couldn't fool the law of energy. Their deception was energy, and in time, it returned to them through betrayal, exposure, and loss. You can't cheat the system. The truth always reveals itself because energy never lies. And here's what's even more powerful. When you release positive energy, it may not come back from the person you gave it to, but it will always come back from somewhere. Or maybe the person you love didn't love you back, but someone else will in a way even deeper. Maybe the kindness you showed went unappreciated, but later in life. When you need help the most, kindness will appear at your door. Life does not ignore goodness. Even if humans do, the universe doesn't. What you release is an investment, and the return is guaranteed. Too many people underestimate this. They think their negative words are harmless, that their secret envy doesn't matter, that their hidden intentions can be concealed. But life is not blind. You may hide from people, but you cannot hide from energy. The universe reads what's inside you louder than what you display outside. If your intentions are corrupt, your results will eventually crumble because energy always settles the score. That's why the cruel eventually live in misery and the kind eventually live in peace. That's why liars eventually choke on their lies and truth tellers eventually find freedom. This principle is also empowering because it means you are never truly a victim of circumstances. No matter what others do to you, you still control what energy you release back. You can choose to rise higher. You can choose to remain calm. You can choose to build instead of destroy. And every time you make that choice, you are writing your future. It's not easy. It takes fire in your heart to keep putting out good when the world throws evil at you. But that's the difference between the strong and the weak. The weak recycle negativity. The strong recycle strength. And the stronger you are, the greater the blessings that return to you. So let this truth burn into your mind. The energy you release will always come back. Release hate, and hate will consume you. Release love and love will find you. Release bitterness and life will sour before your eyes. Release resilience and life will rise to meet you. That is the law. You cannot fight it. You cannot cheat it. You cannot avoid it. You can only align with it. So choose carefully because what you give today is what you will live tomorrow. Revenge is unnecessary. Patience is power. When someone hurts you, when they betray your trust, when they try to break you, the fire inside you screams for revenge. You imagine giving them the same pain. You picture watching them fall. You crave the satisfaction of seeing them suffer the way they made you suffer. That desire is natural because pain wants an outlet. But here's the truth. Revenge is nothing but a chain that keeps you tied to the very people who tried to destroy you. When you waste your life plotting their downfall, you are still living in their shadow. You may think you're taking control, but you're actually giving them power because your energy, your time, and your mind are consumed by them. That is why revenge is unnecessary. Not because justice doesn't matter, but because life itself is already preparing a justice greater than anything you could deliver. Patience is not weakness. Patience is the greatest weapon you can carry, because while you are healing, while you are rebuilding, while you are silently working on yourself, life is moving pieces in the background. It is setting up the perfect stage, and when the time is right, those who betrayed you will face the very destruction they created. That is how the universe works. What you release always comes back, and betrayal is a debt that always demands payment. If you try to handle it yourself with revenge, you end up lowering yourself to their level. But if you remain patient, you rise above it, and your silence becomes the loudest form of power. Think about it. Revenge gives you a momentary rush, but it leaves you empty after. You might hurt them, but what then? Your soul remains poisoned because you became just like them. You mirrored their hate, and in doing so, you trapped yourself in the same cycle of destruction. Patience, on the other hand, gives you freedom. It allows you to let go of the poison and focus on your own growth. It takes strength to hold back, to not retaliate when you are wounded. That is why patience is not cowardice. Patience is mastery. Patience means you trust the law of life more than your own desire for instant satisfaction. Every second you don't waste on revenge is a second you can use to build your life stronger than before. While they are tangled in their lies, while they are trapped in their schemes, you are free to rise. You are free to focus on yourself, on your goals, on becoming untouchable. And nothing hurts your enemies more than seeing you succeed despite everything they did to break you. That is the kind of victory no revenge could ever deliver, because revenge destroys both sides, but patience allows one side to heal and rise, while the other side eventually collapses under the weight of their own actions. Patience is power because it gives you control. Revenge is impulsive, born out of anger, and anger makes you reckless. Anger blinds you, causes you to make mistakes, and often leaves you regretting your actions. Patience, however, is strategic. It is discipline. It is the refusal to let anyone dictate your energy. When you are patient, you show the world that no one controls you, not even your enemies. And that kind of self-control is true strength. It's what separates leaders from followers, warriors from cowards, victors from victims. And don't mistake silence for weakness. Silence is thunder waiting to strike. Patience is not about letting them go free. It's about letting life do the work for you. Karma is far more ruthless than anything you could design. It knows exactly where to strike, exactly when to strike, and exactly how to break them. And when that moment comes, you won't need to lift a finger. Their own actions will betray them. Their own energy will crush them. And while they are falling, you'll be rising higher, untouched by the flames they lit for you. Revenge is unnecessary because their downfall is already written. People who harm others never escape the consequences. They may run for a while, they may hide behind fake smiles, they may appear to thrive, but everything borrowed from betrayal comes with interest. And when the collection comes, it will be brutal. They will pay for every wound they caused, and the same way they laughed at your pain, the world will laugh at theirs. That is how balance works. That is why you don't need revenge. Life has already signed the contract for you. Patience, however, requires faith. It requires believing that no pain is wasted, that no betrayal goes unnoticed, that no injustice lasts forever. Patience is holding on when your heart tells you to explode. It's choosing to stay calm when chaos surrounds you. It's the power of discipline, the power of trust, the power of self-control. And the ones who master patience become unstoppable because nothing outside of them can shake them. Imagine this. While your enemies are watching you, waiting for you to crumble, you stay silent, focused, and calm. You don't retaliate. You don't waste energy. You don't let them see you broken. Instead, you keep moving forward, and slowly they realize they cannot touch you. They realize their betrayal didn't destroy you. They realize their lies didn't stop you. That realization burns them far more than any revenge ever could. Because revenge feeds their ego, they feel important enough for you to strike back. But patience starves their ego because it shows they are irrelevant to your destiny. Patience also protects your soul. When you choose revenge, you carry bitterness, and bitterness eats you from the inside. But when you choose patience, you release the poison. You let life deal with them, and you walk free. You don't carry their darkness. You don't carry their chains. You remain light, unbroken, unstoppable. That is why patience is true power. It frees you from being a prisoner of their actions. So remember this. Revenge is unnecessary because it's temporary, shallow, and destructive. Patience is power because it's eternal, deep, and liberating. Those who wronged you already signed their fate. They already planted the seeds of their own destruction. You don't need to do anything but wait. And while you wait, don't waste time watching them. Use that time to build yourself into the strongest version of who you are meant to be. Because when their debt comes due, when their world begins to collapse, you'll already be so far ahead that their downfall won't even matter to you anymore. That is the ultimate victory, not revenge, but indifference. Not lowering yourself to their level, but rising so high they can't even reach you. Because the truth is, revenge is for the weak, but patience is for the strong. And strength is the only real power there is. Their darkness will become their own downfall. That is the unshakable truth about life. You see, people believe they can carry malice in their hearts, spread lies, destroy trust, hurt others for their own gain, and somehow escape untouched. They think that because they walked away laughing, because they seemed to succeed after betraying, that the story ends there. But life is far too intelligent to allow darkness to stand forever. Darkness is a disease, and every disease eventually consumes its host. You cannot build happiness on pain. You cannot build peace on betrayal. You cannot build strength on weakness. Their darkness will always turn inward. It will always poison the soil they stand on, and eventually it will become the very weapon that breaks them. Every cruel word they spoke, every manipulative act they committed, every betrayal they carried out is a seed planted in their own life. They thought they were planting it in yours, but the truth is, it never left them. They sowed it in their own field, and it is only a matter of time before it grows into something they cannot control. The liar eventually gets caught in lies so tangled they suffocate. The greedy eventually choke on their own hunger, because no amount of gain fills their emptiness. The betrayer eventually finds themselves alone, abandoned, because no one trusts a snake twice. This is how life works. You cannot release darkness into the world without swallowing it yourself. When you were hurting, when you were crying, when you were questioning why they seemed untouched, you were looking at the surface. On the surface, they looked free. On the surface, they looked strong. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Their mask was heavy, and wearing it every day costs energy. They may smile in public, but they are empty in private. They may laugh with others, but at night, they are restless, haunted by the shadows they created. And the longer they live in that darkness, the more it eats them alive. They will never admit it, but you don't need to hear them confess. It is written all over their future. Darkness has no loyalty. The same way they turned against you, the same way they carried betrayal in their heart. That same energy will one day turn against them. It might arrive in the form of failed relationships, collapsing opportunities, or even betrayal from those they trusted. Because once you choose to live in darkness, you invite more of it into your life. You cannot expect loyalty when you've betrayed it. You cannot expect peace when you've broken it. You cannot expect love when you've destroyed it. Life mirrors what you give, and when all you've given is poison, eventually you will drink from that very cup. And that is why you don't need to waste yourself chasing revenge. Their downfall is already written into their actions. You don't need to plot. You don't need to fight. You don't need to become what they are. All you need to do is rise. Rise above it, heal, focus on your growth, and let life unfold. Because the storm they created for you will eventually rain over their own head. The trap they set for you will eventually close around them. The fire they lit for you will eventually burn their own house down. That is not hope, that is law. Darkness cannot escape itself. The beauty of this truth is that it frees you. You no longer need to question if justice exists. You no longer need to keep asking, why do they get away with it? They don't. They never do. They may delay the consequence, but they cannot escape it. Their downfall is not only inevitable, it is tailor-made for them. Life knows exactly what their pride is built on, and life knows exactly how to strike it. If they built their worth on power, they will lose control. If they built it on wealth, they will face ruin. If they built it on reputation, they will be exposed. Darkness always turns inward and attacks the very foundation it once stood on. And you, yes, you, become the living proof that their darkness failed. Because while they collapse, you rise. While they drown in their own lies, you shine with your truth. While they become prisoners of their own hatred, you walk free with strength they can't even imagine. Nothing will sting them more than realizing they couldn't break you. Their mission failed and their darkness became their cage. But here's the most important part. You must never let their darkness pull you in. That's the trap. That's how it spreads. If you respond to their betrayal with betrayal, if you fight their lies with lies, if you mirror their hate, then you carry their darkness too. And when you carry it, it becomes your downfall as well. That's why you must remain disciplined. You must choose patience over revenge, strength over weakness, light over darkness. Because when you choose differently, you separate your destiny from theirs. You rise while they fall. You inherit peace while they inherit destruction. You walk free while they remain shackled to their own shadows. Darkness always pretends to be power. It pretends to be strength. People who betray and manipulate often act as if they are winning, as if they are above the rest. But look closely, and you will see emptiness in their eyes. They are constantly chasing more, constantly restless, constantly afraid of being exposed. That is not power, that is fear. That is weakness disguised as confidence, and eventually it cracks. Because no matter how much they pretend, they cannot outrun what they've built inside themselves. Their darkness will be their downfall, not because you wished it, but because that is the only outcome possible. Darkness cannot build a future. It cannot create stability. It cannot sustain joy. Everything it touches eventually collapses. That is why no matter how high they climb, their fall will be even harder. And when it happens, it will not be because of you, it will be because of them. Or they destroyed themselves long before they tried to destroy you. So don't fear them. Don't envy them. Don't waste your nights wondering why they seem to flourish. Their time is temporary. Their mask will slip. Their darkness will consume them. And when it does, they will look around for the people they betrayed, the people they mocked, the people they thought they destroyed, and no one will be there. They will stand alone, surrounded not by love, not by loyalty, not by peace, but by the very darkness they created. That is their destiny. That is their downfall. And nothing you could ever do to them will be worse than what life will do for you. Their darkness will become their own downfall, and your light will become your victory. All you need to do is keep walking, keep rising, and never let their shadows dim your fire. Because the truth is simple. Darkness always collapses under its own weight, but light always finds a way to shine. And when it's all said and done, remember this truth. No darkness survives forever. Every lie has an expiration date. Every betrayal has a cost. Every act of cruelty plants a seed that will one day bloom into the betrayer's own destruction. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to waste your life carrying the weight of their choices. Just let go and rise. Their darkness is not your burden to carry. It is their prison, and it will tighten around them with time. Your role is to keep your fire alive. Your role is to heal, to grow, to turn the pain into power and the scars into armor. Because the higher you rise, the more their actions fade into nothingness. And while they drown in the very poison they poured, you'll be thriving in the light you created for yourself. That is the justice of life. It does not forget. It does not ignore. It does not allow darkness to reign. Their downfall is written in their own actions. Your victory is written in your strength to rise above it. Walk forward fearless because light always wins.